The clock ticked loud in the silence. Mark never noticed it before, how heavy that sound felt in an empty house. But tonight the weight of it sat in his chest. Not at the edges of his thoughts. His hands were still rough with drywall dust, the scent of sawdust clinging to his skin. 12 hours on site, back screaming, knee stiff, and this is what he came home to. Silence. He dropped his keys on the kitchen counter. No sound from upstairs. No laughter from the living room. Just that clock ticking like a slow heartbeat. His phone buzzed in his pocket. A message from Grace, his wife. Late again. Don't wait up. He swallowed hard. Stared at the words. The same words from 2 nights ago and last week. Mark exhaled, sharp and bitter, like something was lodged deep in his gut. He tried to push it down. Tried to tell himself there was a reasonable explanation: overtime at the firm, a deadline, a meeting that ran late. But the excuses, they felt too easy. Too polished. And lately the warmth in her voice was gone. He scraped a chair back from the kitchen table, collapsing into it. His knuckles flexed tight and white. For 13 years he had worked himself raw for this family. For her. Early mornings. Late nights. Double shifts when the bills piled too high. And he never complained because he had Grace. Because at the end of every hard day, he came home to her arms. But now he came home to nothing. A creak from the stairs snapped his head up. A small figure wrapped in an oversized sweatshirt hovered on the last step. Emily, his daughter. 8 years old. Too smart for her own good. And right now her face was pale. Pinched with something he couldn't quite place. You should be asleep, he said softly. She didn't move. Didn't speak. Just stood there, her fingers twisting in the hem of her sleeve. What's wrong, Em? Her bottom lip trembled and his stomach clenched. He pushed back the ache in his chest and opened his arms. Come here, baby. She ran to him. Her arms locked tight around his neck, and for a moment, everything else fell away. The doubts. The fear. She was still his girl, still the one thing in this world he could hold on to. But then she whispered something. And it changed everything. Daddy. Mommy had a man here. His heart stopped. Just stopped. He pulled back, gripping her arms gently. What did you say? Emily wouldn't meet his eyes. A man. He was here last night when you were working. The blood in his veins turned to ice. Did you see him? His voice shook thick and raw in his throat. She nodded. And the next words out of her mouth, soft, fragile, shattered the life he thought he had. I think she kissed him. For a moment everything tilted like the ground. Under his feet wasn't solid anymore. His ears rang with it, a sharp buzz behind his temples. Grace. His Grace. Number. She couldn't. But the way Emily trembled against him. That wasn't a lie. Kids didn't lie like that. Not about something like this. Mark sucked in a breath. His pulse throbbed hard at his temples as he stood, setting Emily gently back on the floor. It's okay, baby, he said, though nothing was okay. Go back to bed, all right. I'll take care of it. She hesitated. Are you mad at Mommy? Mad didn't touch the rage, boiling in his blood. The betrayal. The way his stomach churned like he was gonna be sick. But he couldn't put that on her. No, sweetheart. He lied. I'm not mad. You did the right thing telling me. When she finally disappeared upstairs, he stood there numb. Hands clenched. Mind spinning. The whole world suddenly wrong. And in the pit of his gut, A terrible question burned. Who was he? The next day Mark took off work. Told his boss something personal came up. The lie tasted like ash. Grace hadn't come home until after midnight. He heard the shower running, smelled perfume on her skin that wasn't his. But he hadn't said a word. Not yet. He needed proof. So while she was at work, he tore through their home. Her closet. Her car. The nightstand drawer where she kept her secrets. And when he found it, a receipt. Hotel room 317 last Saturday. When she told him she was at a work retreat, his whole body trembled as he stared at it. His vision blurred at the edges, teeth grinding together until his jaw ached. He wanted to scream. To smash something. Instead, he pocketed the receipt and picked up his phone. He needed answers. And he knew exactly where to start. By the time Grace got home that night, Mark was waiting. The clock on the wall read 9:27. She walked through the door with her usual excuses. Meeting ran late, she said, dropping her bag by the door. He just stared at her. And for the first time in their marriage, she flinched under his gaze. Who is he? Mark's voice was low. Cold. Grace froze. What are you talking about? He pulled the hotel receipt from his pocket. Tossed it onto the kitchen table between them. Her face drained of color. Mark, I can explain. Don't, he snapped. Don't you dare lie to me. The air crackled with something dangerous. His hands curled into fists at his sides to keep from shaking. Tears welled in her eyes, but he didn't care. Not anymore. How long? His voice was rough like gravel in his throat. A silence stretched between them, thick, heavy, until finally she broke it. 6 months, she whispered. The words hit like a hammer to the chest. 6 months. Everything inside him twisted, rage and heartbreak tangled together, until he couldn't breathe. Couldn't think why. His voice cracked on the question. Why, Grace? She didn't answer. And that silence was worse than any confession. He turned away, because if he looked at her 1 second longer, he might lose control. But before he could leave, her voice cut through the air. I never meant to hurt you, she said softly. Mark laughed, sharp, bitter. Too late for that, and as he walked out the door, one thing was clear. Nothing would ever be the same again.